The waves crashed against the rocks below Nautilus Station as Dr. Elias Reeves peered through his microscope. The Marine Research Facility, perched on the edge of the Pacific coastline, offered solitude, exactly what he needed after the chaos of his previous life in academia. Another late night, Dr. Reeves. The automated lab assistant chimed from the corner. Science doesn't sleep, Aida, Elias mumbled, adjusting the lens. The algae samples from the deep-sea vents showed promising adaptive properties. Perhaps the breakthrough he'd been chasing for months. A sudden crash from the storage room jolted him from his concentration. Elias frowned, setting down his tools. The station was supposed to be empty except for him this weekend. Ada, did you schedule any deliveries? He asked, already moving toward the sound. Negative. Dr. Reeves. No personnel or deliveries expected for 72 hours. The storage room door was ajar, a thin trail of something shimmering on the floor, not water, but something viscous with a faint purple tint. Elias followed the trail, heart pounding as it led behind a stack of equipment containers. Hello? He called softly. I'm not going to hurt you. A whimper answered him, so faint he nearly missed it. Elias moved the container aside and froze. Curled in the corner was a girl or something. Girl-shaped, but decidedly not human. Her skin held a soft purple hue that seemed to pulse with her rapid breathing. Frightened eyes, large and completely violet without whites or pupils, stared back at him. The wound on her side leaked the same purple substance that had made the trail. You're hurt, Elias whispered, instinctively reaching toward her before stopping himself. I can help. She flinched away, pressing further into the corner. Her clothes were tattered, made of some material Elias couldn't identify. Despite her alien appearance, there was something unmistakably intelligent and frightened in her expression. Food. She whispered in a voice that sounded like wind through crystal chimes. Elias nodded slowly, backing away. Yes, food. I'll get you food. Stay here. In the lab kitchen, his hands trembled as he gathered supplies. An alien. An actual extraterrestrial being was hiding in his storage room. Government protocols demanded immediate reporting to the Extraterrestrial Encounter Division. But the fear in those violet eyes gave him pause when he returned with water and various snacks. She was examining a specimen jar with curious fingers. She set it down carefully when she noticed him. My name is Elias, he said, pointing to himself. Elias. She watched him for a long moment before placing her hand on her chest. Nara, Elias smiled, setting the food before her. Nara, it's nice to meet you. She reached for an apple first, sniffing it before taking a tentative bite. Her eyes widened with surprise, and she took another eager bite. You've traveled a long way, haven't you? Elias murmured, watching as she devoured the fruit. Outside. Distant lights flashed along the coastal road vehicles approaching the isolated station. Elias frowned. No one was scheduled to arrive. Nara followed his gaze and tensed, a soft sound of distress escaping her. The purple color of her skin dimmed slightly. They're looking for you, aren't they? Elias whispered, already knowing the answer. Whatever had brought this starving alien girl to his doorstep, one thing was becoming clear. His life would never be the same again. Morning light streamed through the laboratory. Windows as Elias carefully cleaned Nara's wound. The purple fluid had stopped leaking, and her skin seemed to be healing at an astonishing rate. Remarkable, he murmured, applying the last bandage. Your cellular regeneration is unlike anything I've studied. Nara watched him work, her violet eyes tracking every movement. She had become less fearful overnight, though she still startled at unexpected sounds. The vehicles that had approached last night had merely been maintenance workers at the nearby power station, but their presence had terrified her. Why hide? Elias asked, mimicking a ducking motion. Why afraid? Nara placed her fingers against his temple, a gesture that startled him. A flood of images rushed through his mind-blinding lights. Figures in hazmat suits, needles, pain, and fear. So much fear that it made his breath catch. Elias pulled back, gasping. They hurt you. Humans hurt you, Nara nodded, her expression solemn. She pointed to his computer and made a series of gestures with her hands. You want to Communicate. He guessed. After several attempts, Elias understood she wanted to use his computer. He set up a simple drawing program, and Nara's fingers flew across the screen with surprising dexterity. She sketched a ship, then pointed skyward. You came in a spacecraft, Elias said. Receiving another nod, she drew several figures like herself, then a crashed vessel, then humans with weapons. Your ship crashed, and humans attacked you? Her eyes glistened with what looked like tears, though they shimmered with an iridescent quality. Your family? Elias asked gently. Nara lowered her head, making a soft, melodic sound that needed no translation. Grief sounded the same in any language. That evening, as they shared a meal, Nara, having developed a particular fondness for strawberries, Elias found himself talking about his own life, his failed marriage, his retreat from university politics to this isolated research station, his dreams of discovering something meaningful. I never expected that discovery would find me, he said with a smile. Nara tilted her head, then reached for his hand. Her touch was warmer than a human's, with a subtle vibration that felt almost like a purr. The simple connection felt more intimate than anything Elias had experienced in years of human relationships. A sharp knock at the station door shattered the moment. Elias jumped to his feet, gesturing for Nara to hide. Through the security monitor, he saw two official-looking individuals in dark suits. One held up a government ID. Dr. Reeves. Extraterrestrial Encounter Division. We need to speak with you. Elias's heart pounded as he glanced toward the supply closet where Nara was hiding. Somehow, they knew. Just a moment. Elias called, quickly gathering Nara's few belongings. He rushed to the supply closet, opening it just enough to whisper, "We need to leave." Now, Nara's eyes widened with understanding. She followed him through the laboratory's rear exit, down a maintenance corridor that led to the loading bay. The persistent knocking at the front door grew louder, more insistent. Dr. Reeves, we have satellite readings of an anomalous energy signature at this location. Opening this door is not optional. Elias helped Nara into his old Jeep parked behind the facility. Stay down, he instructed, covering her with a blanket as he started the engine. They bumped down the service road. Just as black SUVs pulled into the main entrance, in the rearview mirror, Elias watched agents pour out of the vehicles, weapons drawn. They won't stop looking, he muttered. Gripping the steering wheel tighter, Nara peeked from beneath the blanket, placing her hand on his arm. Through their touch, he sensed not just her fear, but a profound gratitude that made his chest tighten. After 3 hours of driving inland, avoiding main highways, Elias pulled into the driveway of a small cabin nestled among redwood trees. My friend Maya lives here, he explained. She'll help us. I hope. The door opened before they reached it, revealing a woman with silver-streaked black hair and sharp eyes. Elias Reeves, she said, crossing her arms. You look like you're in trouble. Maya, I can explain. Save it. She nodded toward Nara, who stood partially hidden behind him. Your purple friend is all over the emergency broadcasts. Dangerous alien fugitive, they're saying. Elias stepped protectively in front of Nara. She's not dangerous. They're the ones who hurt her. Maya studied them both for a long moment before sighing. Get inside before someone sees you. Once inside, Maya secured every window and door while Elias explained everything. You realize what you've done? Maya asked when he finished. You're harboring what they're calling a potential threat to national security. Look at her, Maya. Does she look like a threat? Nara sat on the couch, examining a houseplant with gentle curiosity. When she noticed their attention, she lowered her hand, suddenly self-conscious. Maya's expression softened. No, she doesn't, Elias lowering her voice. But I worked at EED before I retired. They won't stop hunting her, Elias, and anyone helping her will be considered a traitor. A distant sound of helicopter rotors made them all freeze. Nara stood suddenly, her eyes focused as if listening to something beyond human hearing. She moved to the window, pointing upward. They're coming, Maya confirmed, checking her security system. And not just by air. We need to move. As they gathered supplies, Nara tugged Elias's sleeve, guiding his hand to her temple. This time, the images were different. a vast ship hidden underwater, coordinates flashing like stars in his mind. "She knows where to go," Elias whispered. "Her people are still here." The sound of rotors grew louder as they slipped out through Maya's root cellar, emerging into the forest behind the cabin. As they ran between ancient redwoods, Elias realized that the path forward might change not just his life, but the course of human history itself. The forest grew denser as they traveled deeper into redwood country. Maya led them along hidden trails, her knowledge of the wilderness proving invaluable. Night had fallen, but Nara's skin emitted a faint purple glow that illuminated their path. "Handy nightlight you've got there," Maya whispered. Ducking under a low branch, Nara seemed to understand the comment and deliberately dimmed her luminescence. A hint of what might have been a smile crossing her features, they made camp in a small cave, hidden behind a waterfall. The rushing water would mask their heat signatures from thermal imaging. Maya unfolded a small solar-powered jammer from her pack. "Old habits," she explained to Ilias's questioning look. "I never did trust them, even when I worked for them." As they settled, Nara became increasingly agitated, gesturing toward the eastern sky where dawn would soon break. She took both their hands, forming a circle, and closed her eyes. The cave vanished around them. Suddenly, they stood in what appeared to be a vast chamber, walls shimmering with organic technology. Translucent screens displayed star maps and data in an unfamiliar language. "We're not really here," Maya whispered, voice tinged with awe. "This is some kind of ... projection." Figures appeared, beings like Nara, tall and graceful, with varying shades of purple and blue skin. They moved with purpose around the chamber, their motions fluid like underwater dancers. The Lemurians' Nara's voice spoke directly into their minds, startling them both. "My people, we are explorers, scholars of life." Images flashed around them, the Lemurian ship approaching Earth, peaceful scientific missions to study the oceans. Careful observations of humanity conducted over decades. "We believed your species ready for contact," Nara continued. "I was part of the first diplomatic mission." The scene shifted to show their ship being intercepted by military aircraft, forced down into the ocean. Then came the assault humans in tactical gear storming the damaged vessel. "They took our technology, our people. I escaped." Grief colored her mental voice. "My family remains captive." The vision dissolved, returning them to the cave. Elias blinked, disoriented by the experience. "Your telepathic abilities, they're extraordinary," he murmured. Nara touched her temple, then his. "Learning. Your language. Your mind helps." Maya stood, pacing the small space. "This changes everything. The EED isn't tracking a dangerous alien. They're covering up a first contact situation gone wrong. And likely exploiting Lemurian technology," Elias added grimly. "That's why they're so desperate to find her." "The coordinates she showed you," Maya said. "That's where the rest of her people are hiding?" Elias nodded. "A secondary vessel, underwater. If we can reach them, then maybe we can prevent an interspecies disaster," Maya finished. "But we're looking at a 3-day journey through heavily monitored territory." Nara stood, her determination evident despite her slender frame. She pointed to herself, then to the eastern horizon, then made a sweeping motion with her arm. Together she said aloud, her voice musical and clear, "Change everything." Dawn broke over the Pacific as they crested the final ridge. Below, the ocean stretched endlessly, sunlight dancing across the waves. According to Nara's coordinates, her people's vessel lay just offshore, in a deep underwater trench. Their journey had been perilous. Twice they'd narrowly avoided EED patrols. And once they'd been forced to hide in a drainage tunnel for hours as drones swept the area. But now, standing at the edge of the continent, Elias felt a strange sense of calm. "How do we signal them?" Maya asked, scanning the empty horizon. Nara walked to the water's edge, kneeling to touch the surface. Her skin began to pulse with waves of bioluminescence, patterns flowing from her fingertips into the water itself. The ocean around her hand glowed in response, ripples of light spreading outward. "Bioluminescent communication," Elias whispered in awe. "Their technology must be partially organic." Minutes passed in tense silence. Then, a faint glow appeared beneath the waves, growing stronger until the water seemed to boil with light. A sleek vessel emerged, hovering just above the surface no engines. No sound, just smooth, iridescent metal that seemed alive. A hatch opened, and 3 figures emerged. Taller than Nara, their skin deeper purple with intricate patterns, they approached cautiously. Nara ran forward, embracing the tallest figure in what was unmistakably a familial reunion. Soft, musical sounds passed between them, their native language, too complex for human vocal cords. The leader approached Elias and Maya, studying them with eyes that held ancient wisdom. "You helped our Nara," the being said, its voice resonating in their minds rather than their ears. "We are in your debt. Your people are in danger here," Elias said. "The EE to our government, they've captured some of your kind. We know." The being gestured toward their ship. "Come, there is much to discuss." Aboard the vessel, they were shown images of other Lemurians establishing contact with selected humans around the world, scientists, philosophers, artists building a network of allies. "We did not anticipate hostility," the leader explained, "but we have adapted our approach. I'll never stop hunting you," Maya warned. "Unless the truth is known," Elias realized suddenly. "That's why you brought us here. You need witnesses, humans, who can tell your story." The leader nodded. "The captured technology your government seized cannot be activated without Lemurian biology. They will fail, grow frustrated. Eventually, they will attempt more invasive methods on our captured kin." "We can prevent that," Elias said with growing conviction. "Maya has connections in the media, in government. I have scientific credibility. Together, we can force this into the open." As they spoke, alerts flashed across the ship's organic displays. EED vessels were approaching helicopters, boats, a full military response. "Time grows short," the leader said. "We offer you a choice. Come with us to safety, or return to face your people with our truth." Elias and Maya exchanged glances. The decision wasn't really a decision at all. "We'll stay," they said in unison. Nara approached, taking Elias's hands in hers. The connection between them flowed both ways. No gratitude, admiration, and something deeper that transcended species. "You changed everything," she whispered, touching his cheek gently. "For me?" "For us all." When the ET forces arrived at the beach, they found Elias and Maya standing alone, recording devices in hand, broadcasting live to every major network. Behind them, as the ocean glowed with the departing lights of the Lemurian vessel, visible now to millions of watching eyes around the world. "People of Earth," Elias began, his voice steady despite the weapons trained on him. "Today marks the beginning of a new chapter in human history. We are not alone, and our first interstellar neighbors come in peace." As military personnel surrounded them, the sky above lit up with shimmering auroras, a farewell gift from the Lemurians. Too beautiful to be denied or explained away, witnessed simultaneously across continents. Later, historians would mark this day as the turning point when humanity's fear of the unknown gave way to wonder. When one man's compassion for a starving alien girl changed the course of 2 civilizations forever,